the comment on shady deals, and I don't know what world you guys live in, but I know the public thinks and believes that there are shady deals that go down here, whether it's in judicial elections, whether it's in contracts and things that different people might get, whether it's profit and self-dealing from members in the room. If you've never heard that, you got a totally different district than I do. And if people believe that, if the public, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, if they believe that and question that, it is our duty to give them assurances that it's not true. And when we can put policy in place that makes sure that states, our intention, we're against these kind of crony deals and self-interest things that people think may or may not be going on, we should do them. We know it's a problem, at least in the public's perception. As Representative Magnuson pointed to, he brought up an issue that, boy, if you live in the upstate, they got some opinions about what happened with that stadium. They got some opinions about what happened with that stadium. Maybe that's not a reality where you live. Representative Cobb Hunter gave me an exhortation about community organizing and working with coalitions. I think we have a different understanding of community organizers. I don't know, maybe that's outside of this room. But I agree, we all got to work together. And when we have a bipartisan issue that we can agree on, we should absolutely work together. But our coalitions, my coalition is my constituents and the people of the state of South Carolina. It was also mentioned that the ARPA is not Republican money. This is all Democrat money that they pass. Well, I don't want to jump into that hornet's nest, but I'll just say that is accurate. We generally are pretty fiscally conservative over on the Republican side. That's true. This money's here. We got to figure out how to allocate it. This amendment in front of you, I think you guys are going to like this. All it does is it makes sure that anybody that gets contracts to do any of this work, as this money comes down, it just simply makes sure that we in this room and our family members and business associates cannot profit from this money. Now, I don't really think this chamber's really ever had a problem with that. Can't say that maybe in the public opinion on the other chamber. I think this is a common sense, good statement of policy to make sure that the money that we're allocating doesn't profit anyone in this room or our immediate family members or our close business associates. I think it's reasonable. I think it should be on everything we do as we allocate money. Like, this should just be always in there just to make sure. But safeguards should be bipartisan. And I think they are. So I hope you'll vote for this amendment.
You taking questions, Mr. Morgan? Okay. All right, Mr. Caskey is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Morgan, I appreciate the eloquence with which you delivered us that civics lesson. I'm hopeful, though, that you can also help me understand how is it that we pass legislation here? What's the voting threshold that you need to be successful in adopting an amendment?
The majority of the body.
So 124 divided by 2 plus 1, right?
Mr.
64? How many people did you talk to in advance of this legislation before we got here today?
Quite a number of people. Mr. Caskey, before we get into some kind of odd debate that really might be better.
I think we're there.
Outside of it. Well, what I mean is, before we get back into the personality stuff that we might be heading down.
Well, I'm just at the math,
I'm a legislator, and you are a legislator. We have every ability to put amendments up. I'm not aware of any time. In fact, I'll say I'm not aware of most amendments that get run by me or every member of this chamber. This is how it regularly and should operate. You can read. You've seen it. You can all read. I don't have to run by and get your. Think about what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. The assertion that we have to get permission to post amendments on the floor. I'm blown away.
Mr. Morgan, I want to interrupt you to ask you. You offered an opportunity to ask you a question, and I want to get to that because you've now put words into my mouth that don't belong there. Because
Mr. Morgan, suspend. Mr. Caskey, we're going to ask one question at a time. Mr. Morgan has the floor. Mr. Caskey's asking questions. So we're not going to get into this, and so let's be respectful of each other. You're not going to talk over one another.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think that I've made my argument. I believe you've made your argument, and I will step away from the well and we can move on.
Mr. Caskey wants to be heard, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm disappointed that we had to end that discussion prematurely in my mind, because my idea, my line of questioning is on the predicate of worthwhile comments that Mr. Morgan made. He advanced concepts and goals to which we should aspire, and he's not wrong about that. We should seek at every opportunity to provide the public with confidence in their government, and we can do that by adopting measures that will ensure transparency. He is right about that. We should not shy away from that. However, we are in a legislative body that does not require permission to be granted from one to advance legislation, but it does require working with others. And that is a concept which apparently some members of this body find foreign. It is the recipe for failure. If you want to be successful in this chamber, and we are new in the session this year, I would submit to you that cooperation and collaboration is the path forward. Surprising members with amendments at the last minute and then claiming some cloak of nobility is patently absurd and nothing but failure. If you want to be successful, and if the goals that you say you espouse are genuine, then there are ways to do that. I don't know why that it strikes some members as difficult to learn that, but working with others is the path to success. This is a bill that came out of committee over a week ago. To my knowledge, the chairman of the committee has never talked to any of the members about that. To my knowledge, I have not had any conversations about any of these amendments, and I'm not aware of any other members outside of a very small group who will not get to that 63 number that you need to pass legislation have happened. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not questioning or asking for permissions and these sorts of things. I'm simply asking, if you really believe these things, if you really are committed to these ideas, then why not work with other people? There are many members in here, maybe all, who share those goals. Working together can give us what the public needs and deserves. But making an effort to come on the floor and make it about yourself and standing on some hill of righteousness on social media is not how we get things done. And I urge you, members, to keep that in mind as we go forward.
All right. Move the table. All right. Representative Bannister, you move table. All right. Representative Bannister moves table amendment number 6. Roll call requested. Non-member second that request. Non-member Magnuson